Alright, welcome back everyone. Today I'm on location here at Mad River Gorge and Nature Preserve, and it's a nice little place just outside the outskirts of Springfield, Ohio here. It's a very new place. It's about 3 years or so old at the time of this video here, in my first visit here, and I'm actually really excited. It's honestly got a lot of different kind of natural features as I keep looking around here, just like this really mossy covered cliffsides and kind of limestone, as the name suggests, gorges. And also, as the name suggests, it's situated right next to the Mad River. So this is a site that's pretty commonly used to pick up trash and just the various kinds of refuse and runoff that comes from the Mad River here. It's situated right next to the nature preserve. And from the looks of it, and when I was at the trailhead here and just check out the different kinds of like brochures and information that's on the billboard there, I happened to notice that it's a very popular climbing destination. Different rock climbings on the limestone kind of cliff faces over here. Right now I'm actually on this kind of trail that's on right next to some meadow, but I kind of broke away to the cliff edge here just to check out the views, and it's spectacular. Just the different kinds of expansive, just like I said, mossy, kind of rocky environments, but then you also got the Mad River just cutting right through it. And so I'm really thinking some landscape photos are in dire need today. And then I was also thinking, just because of early spring here, white trilliums are going to be in bloom, and this would probably be a perfect place to find them. And I actually was quite right. So they're actually a pretty decent sized patch. It's not too big, but they're definitely these little white flowers that are some of the first to really bloom during springtime. And now I'm starting to see them here in different other places that are kind of similar habitat, at least. This place overall, it's about 91 acres or so. It's not too big. There's 3 color code trails in total, and all 3 of them are less than 2 miles total. So it's a fairly small place, but it's a nature preserve, and it's definitely a important place to conserve. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hiking it on this nice, fairly calm morning here. It's really cloudy, overcast, so nice diffused lighting, which make photographing these trilliums right next to me perfect, and even doing some more wide angle landscapes as well. And down here actually, at least down on the bottom of the cliffs, I'm hearing this little waterfall, and I can kind of see it. It's a very small little, very kind of almost petite kind of stream or whatever. But, so we might even do some long exposure today. So there's a lot to look forward to. Maybe even some birds as well. I heard a kingfisher, of course, as expected, down by the Mad River over here. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this visit. Like I said, it's not too big of a place, but I can already tell it's going to be jam-packed with photos, or at least photographic opportunities here. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Starting at least with this trilliums over here, and trying some macro photographs. So typically when you find a patch of different kinds of wildflowers, you want to find the best one, at least the one that's in the best condition, or the one that's most fully in bloom, and just overall the most, I guess, beautiful. So for this trillium, I found this nice one. I just kind of isolated it. It's kind of on its own. It's away from this bigger patch that's kind of behind me here. But I took focus on it. As you can see, I mounted my camera onto a tripod. I'm using a 25mm extension tube, and the tripod basically allows stability. Have it set on a 2-second timer to minimize that camera shake there. And pretty much while the minimize the camera shake is important, the main reason is really just to slow down that shutter to 1/8 of a second, and that just lets in enough light so that way I don't have to increase the ISO and all that. So, and this is a nice little technique if, let's say, you don't have an external flash where it would fill in the shadow details and kind of up the exposure there. I actually don't have one with me today here, but this is a nice little alternative to really get you a nice kind of even exposure, which is really what I'm going for, of course, and as always. And then I'm trying to keep my depth of field, or at least my aperture, at a decent amount. So I have it at f8, f-stop of 8, and I find that looks really nice. I don't want it to be too soft focus. I want to keep, obviously, the flower itself and the white and the buds of it that are yellow in focus, but I also want to kind of keep the green leaves, this kind of three-pronged leaf structure that the flower has, the trillium, and I want to kind of keep all that really in focus there. That's really my main goal with making these macro photographs here, and I feel like so far it's working out pretty well. I'm really liking the results. I took a couple exposures here, so like I said, at 1/8 of a second, f8 and ISO 100, and they've been turning out pretty well so far, and I'm liking the results. And one thing you can try doing, this is more of like a compositional, almost kind of creative choice, is that you can really go for what I like to consider a more purist effect, where you just photograph, the flower and all the surrounding kind of, stones, pebble, dirt, the leaves around it, and you make it look pretty much as natural as possible. Or you can also clear away the debris, if you will, and to make it look more of a much more polished and clean look to the photograph there, and that really helps with removing distractions and just kind of overall cleaning up the frame there to make a much more cleaner image there. So today, or at least for this, at this moment, for this trillium here, the single one right here I'm photographing, I decided to go for the latter and just clean up all. So there's tons of different kinds, like I said, just little pebbles, small kind of dead plant, leaf matter surrounding the trillium, and I just found it was way too much of a distraction. So I quite literally took a little twig and just very, very carefully just kind of brushed and scraped away everything, and then I kept checking. I come back up and look at my LCD screen here on the back, and I just make sure everything in the frame was kind of cleared out, so it was just all dirt, and that way you could surround pretty much everything surrounding the trillium there was out of the way, and it made the single focus obviously on the flower itself. So that was my main goal with that. I might try some more images where it's the former really, and then see if they look much more effective. But I feel like I'm going to like the more cleaner approach. I feel like that makes better photographs, because not only do I want to document these flowers from like a ecological perspective really, but I'm also an artist, and I like to make a nice artful photo, whether or not that's in a natural sense like this. But so it's kind of a twofold perspective on what I do with my work here. But anyways, I'm going to keep photographing these trilliums and see what kind of variety of angles and stuff I got. Perfect lighting for this, so no real rush to hurry and get this done. So I'm just going to settle in here and photograph these flowers some more. Alright, I think I finished my my little photo session there with the trilliums. It turned out really, really well. I was really pleased to finally see these wildflowers and just see the little patch of them. And they're very, very small, but photographing them in a macro style like I did really just kind of brought them to life, brought them to really full size, and it filled the frame, of course. So I did try some where I cleared out the kind of area and the leaf matter and all that stuff around them. I cleared those out, and then I also tried some also macro style photos of just the leaves around, and kind of not so much distractions, but definitely made the image a lot more busier and such. And then I got a little more experimental, and I tried doing some really up close with the wide angle lens, almost kind of not trying to make perspective distortion there, which is the really tricky part, but some really shallow depth of field kind of photographs, very wide angle, kind of showing a little bit of the sky and the horizon where the cliff dips off into the ground. And so those actually look really cool too. It's a nice little neat perspective, but I think the macro lens are my favorite, at least at the moment. And so behind me here, you got this really mossy gorge. I'm kind of right here in the middle of it. I'm seeing where the stream kind of outflows towards the Mad River, which is downstream that way. And it's a very beautiful spot. I'm trying to think of what to do photographically speaking. It's a lot to take in, and it's lots of nice mossy greenery, which is hard to come by. It seems like another times a year when the leaves in the deciduous trees, it's all full of green foliage. But this time of year, this is about as kind of vibrant and green as it gets, and it looks really, really nice. I was trying to think compositionally. I think something kind of where I'm facing, or at least the camera is that way, facing somewhere with the stream here, and just have that kind of as a leading line, or some kind of almost kind of like an S curve, right, and it just cuts right through the gorge there. So I might try something with that, maybe. I don't know. It's an idea at least. And yeah, I'm gonna follow downstream here, or at least on the trail, and see where it leads, towards the Mad River at least, and then check out the rest of the trails here. But so far I'm really enjoying my visit, and this is actually a very, very nice place that I'll have to come back to again in all the other seasons, of course. So I checked out the majority of the Mad River Gorge here. I'm actually hiking along this really flat, nicely laid out, easy to see kind of trail here. It's not so much a paved trail, but it definitely clears the way at least. And now I'm right against the wall, against all the dolomite and the limestone here. And it's just a beautiful display of just a gorge environment that's been preserved for millions of years, really, since the Ice Age and glacial pre-settlement Ohio. And naturally along the the nice beautiful dolomite here, and all the glacial deposits, all the it's just a geological just beautiful display of geological history, really, for the state of Ohio. And there's lots of different winding kind of creek crossing streams, different fairly small kind of cascading waterfalls, and I photographed those with circular polarizer filters, neutral density filters. Did mainly wide angle ones, but I did a lot of vertical compositions because they had a nice rise and fall to them. So yeah, the combination of the white water and just the flowing streams, plus all the green moss that surrounds it on both left and right sides, I just made some really beautiful photos. I think some really nice long exposures that I'm very happy to take home and edit, of course. And then not only that, but also over here, I'm not sure if you can hear it, probably can, hopefully you can see it. It's actually this nice beautiful display. This one has a nice big drop on it, nice real big flow on it as well. And I really was happy to, it's quite a surprise once I heard it and then saw it pretty much from where I am now just a little bit ago. I was ecstatic because just gorge environments like this seem to always have these nice drops. They're very, very skinny, thin kind of waterfalls, but they have this very big drop, and it just hits, just smacks right into the ground and the earth. And this one was no exception. So with just kind of the rain that we've had on and off so far this season, and fortunately I got some nice images of that bracketing to expose for the sky detail, which I put at the very topmost part of the frame, just include a little bit of sky at least, and then exposing for basically the bedrock and of course the water. So alright, so this place has been very amazing. Got just a whole bunch of photos. I've been really, really pleased. It packs so much in such a small space, which has just been really surprising for me. And that's not even, let alone the Mad River behind me here, as well as, all the different greenery space that I unfortunately can't access. That's right across here. And then not only that, but all the different bird song I'm hearing for this time of year. And it just, overall, this place has just really, really surprised me. It's a beautiful display of gorge environment, like I've said. So. Alright, so now what I think I'm going to do here is, I actually noticed at the very beginning at the trailhead, there's tons of different 5-gallon buckets and some of these kind of like tote bags that were, a lot of them were filled with trash, tons of trash at least. And I noticed there's some signs saying that they recommend park patrons take a bucket with them and just, pick up trash and see if you can fill it, almost like a little challenge, fill it by the end of your visit here. And so I feel like Mad River Gorge today has been, it's done me well. It's really, giving me some nice photographs to take home, and I kind of want to, feeling a little bit generous here, so I want to do my little bit of goodwill today. And so I actually noticed at the end of the trail on the easternmost portion of the gorge here, there's actually a white bucket. It's like it was almost waiting for me. So, instead of carrying a bucket out, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bucket here, it's on the ground, and fill it up with trash and see how much I can get into it. So unfortunately I always bring disposable gloves in my hiking bag, my camera bag here, pretty much for this reason. So I've done this sort of thing in a previous on location video and in general, when I'm out hiking. And so I think it'd be a nice way to just kind of end the day here, just kind of to basically say thanks for everything, having these nice, keep the environment looking nice. So at the end of the day, it's not so much about, it is about taking the photos for me. It's like one of the biggest priorities, but I want to also keep the the habitat and everything looking clean, of course. Sound a little bit end on a cliche there, but it is very true, and I want to keep everything looking nice, or else what's the point in photographing it? Because then you're just photographing the trash on the ground and whatnot. So basically on my hike back here, I'm going to be, I'm going to still look for photos, of course, when I have the cameras out, but I'm going to be looking for something else. It's going to be trash. And yeah, it'll make a nice little montage too, not going to lie. So almost done with the day, but let's pick up some trash now. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of my trip here to Mad River Gorge. Got a lot of trash actually. Not really surprised. There's tons of it. I even saw some rusty old bike frames, kind of like box spring mattresses, like the frames of them. Yeah, here's the bucket I got cleared out. Looks like there's just tons of it just though. Especially tons of it still out there. And it's just really a bummer. Yeah, it's starting to rain too. But anyways, yeah, I was really glad I could do that. Do a little bit of community service, of course, and I got some great photos to take home as well. So I hope you enjoyed this trip out here as much as I did, and thank you so much for watching. This has been Mad River Gorge Nature Preserve, and until next time, make sure to get out here and pick up your trash. Thank you.